Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm letting people in as they join. I'm Liam Henderson. I'm the chair of the Rail Innovation Group. I'm very excited to have the Ideas Agency present to us today. So I'm going to hand over to Nick to kick us off.
All right. Thank you, Liam. Okay. Right. Prepare yourselves. This is going to be brilliant. And I say that because, it's me and I back myself, but it is going to be really good. So, okay. This is what it's called progress, not post its. That's what I believe. I believe you need to, as Dev has said, practical ideas and examples he can take back into work and failing fast or just progress really and moving yourself forward and moving your organization forward. So, the Ideas Agency, we help you create ideas, test what matters, scale what works, and grow your business. And that's changed with the advent of AI. And I'm going to talk about that and how you can harness it to quickly test ideas. Back in the day, what we used to do was create ideas like this and launch them. So we'd work with a brand and they'd say, oh, we want a new product. And so what we would do is go, okay, how can we understand whether this idea that we created with the brand has resonance? And so we used to fake products and put them out and do some fake PR about them to understand whether and to get some data back into the business to say, oh, yeah, this is a good idea. And so we would then put it on Kickstarter. Kickstarter is a platform where you can put your ideas on and get funding for it. And then we'd see what would happen. And with this example, it's a plantable wrapping paper. We did some insight, and the client was like, "Yeah, we're going to create these new products, paper toys." And we're like, "That's a terrible idea." The insight says it's a terrible idea, but we looked at the paper industry. One of the biggest problems in the paper industry is wrapping paper because it's got foils on and all this shiny kind of like materials. You can't recycle some of it. And in the UK, just gone at Christmas, enough wrapping paper is thrown away to landfill that can wrap around the world 12 times. So we're like, oh, that might be a good idea. Let's create plantable wrapping paper. Anyway, so we put it on there. We do some PR. It gets picked up, Fox News. And so you're like, oh, the data's saying, as in, this is really gaining traction. We should put this into production. We put it into production. They sold out 3 times before each production run sold out, and they licensed it to Fothergills, who put it on their site. Fothergills are a big seed company. They put it on their site, and it did. It was the fastest selling product that they had, and they sold out in 1 day. And so, like, that's the power of kind of like the data and getting insight. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Here's another example. Look, we want to create a business to consumer product. And they actually make bollards. This company make bollards, but they out of rubber basically. And they were like, right, yeah, we want to create a business to consumer product. And so they had their strips of rubber, and they were saying, yeah, what we're going to do is market it to mountain bikers, because you can wrap it around the chain support of your mountain bike and stop it getting rusty. And again, you do the insight and you're like, that's a terrible idea. Definitely don't do that. How about we market it at adventurers and call it adventure tape, because you can lash stuff together with it. It's got these amazing properties. Anyway, again, we put it on Kickstarter to see if it'll fly. The board were like, oh, if you get 15 grand in pre-sale, we'll put it into production. We did 50K in 1 month pre-sale. It got 2 million views on Unbox Therapy, which is like a YouTube channel. And we did all this like guerrilla style. So we didn't have like a huge budget. We just wanted to see if it would fly. Again, they licensed it, so they sold it. And that's what we were doing 5 years ago. So what we were looking for was this profile. If we could generate some proof, we can reduce the risk. And that used to take, a reasonable amount of time, because each of those activities takes time. But now, with the advent of AI, what we're able to do, and I should say this mirrors corporates as well. They're always looking to de-risk rather than take risk. Now you're able to generate proof very, very quickly and truncate the time. And so that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. When we work with organizations, this is typically what they have as a no-cess, and they go kind of like, oh, let's generate some ideas and have a workshop about this thing. And their outcome might be, or they think it's a problem, is we need more sales, which isn't a problem. That's kind of like the outcome of solving the problem. And so they have a workshop, they generate some ideas, maybe some good ideas, and they're like, yeah, let's build it. And momentum kind of like starts dropping off as soon as people leave. the workshop, and then it's kind of like, oh, what's going on with that idea? Oh, it's not my problem. We've got business as usual, and then that cycle kind of happens again over and over, and it just leads to loads of frustration. And actually, the business not really going anywhere or doing anything. This is really simple process. It's our process, and it's simple because simplicity leads to action. So discover insights which lead to problems, because that's what you should be chasing, not ideas. Designing prototypes using AI, testing those prototypes, and creating ownership of those, so that when you get insight back from those prototypes and experiment, you know which member of your team is responsible for carrying out which element. And by doing that, you can deliver and deploy ideas quickly into the marketplace. So my name's Nick. I founded the Ideas Agency back in 2013. I wanted to design handbags actually as a kid. My mum had loads of handbags and I used to like playing with them. And that was I was like, I'm going to design handbags. I think most children probably want to be footballers or whatever, but not me. I wanted to design handbags. So because this is going to be interactive, can I just ask you to type into the chat what you wanted to be when you grew up as an adult, as in now, what you wanted to be, unless we've got any like 8-year-olds on the chat. Just type in that's a good one. Marine biologist. That's excellent. Any others? What did you want to be? An actress. Oh, Henny, yes. Rock star's a good one. Train drivers, even better. That's the best. Pilot, zookeeper. Oh, they're all good. That you haven't, footballer hasn't come up yet, which is kind of like it's the top one I tend to get is like footballer. Brilliant. Okay, lovely. Okay, Henny wants to be a train driver as well. That's superb. Wonderful. Okay, so this is who we typically work for. Very big and very small organizations. Our smallest organizations tend to be £1 million turnover. And yeah, we help them create ideas, test them, and put them out into the market. And this is what we're going to do today. I'm going to teach you about problem framing. I'm going to teach you about how to convey ideas to your teams or other people. And then I'm going to teach you about building ideas with AI. I didn't want to like jump into AI and go, here's some stuff that it does, because you need to understand how to create context for it. Otherwise, and actually you need to understand what you're looking for in terms of what experiment you're going to use the AI to create for you. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is reframing. And this is a process I've come up with. Reframing is obviously not a, novel. I didn't create it, but the word I should say. But this process, this is an interesting take, and it combines a couple of things. So the gold is always in the problem. That is what I've been doing this for 10 years, more than 10 years, and it's always in the problem. That's where the gold really is. And the ideas come out of that. So in school, we tend to be taught in a binary way. Still, my children are taught in a binary way. And what I mean by that is singular. So what does 5 + 5 equal is like 10, or true, false, yes, no. It's that kind of thing. We're not taught to critically look at the problem. And actually, what you should look for is which two numbers add up to 10, because as soon as you change that problem, the ideas are just endless. Like it's easier to create ideas. And this is the best example. Like, he's a behavioral science genius. It's a homeless guy, right? I got this example from Dave Trott's book, and which is a great book, and it's called 1 + 1 = 3. If you want to read it, it's about creativity. It's an amazing book. And here you can see the homeless person, right? His outcome, which is what most businesses start with, that they think is the problem, like we need more sales, is, oh, I want money. And then what two numbers add up to 10, as in the problem, is he's like, oh, I want to allow people to show off how compassionate their religion is over others. So you can see here, he's got a sign, which religion cares most about the homeless? And he's got atheist, Christian, Muslim. And so actually it takes it from, something which is an experience of when someone's giving money, which is really pity, to an engaging experience, which is probably a bit fun. And, it is competitive. And so here's the process. What do I want? I want more money. Who are your audience? Compassionate people. Yeah, but who specifically? Are religious people. They have compassion. And so what's the risk? Well, giving's invisible. So how can I solve that risk? Or what's the problem? Making religious people's giving visible to all. And I've got a little framework for you. And it's a super easy template. And it's one that we ran through with a recruitment agency. And their thing that when I asked them, what's your problem? They were like, oh, it's, yeah, we want more leads. Okay. But who are your audience? Oh, it's just people looking for work. Well, who specifically? Oh, it's people in high earning careers that want to move from the UK to the US. Okay. And what's the risk with hiring you? Oh, well, it might not work out. People might not like living there. We might actually make less. They might actually make less money actually once you look at cost of living. And so what's the problem? How can we enable high earning professionals living in the UK to understand what their lives would be like in the US and capture leads before the competition? Well, that's so different to where you're starting from, which is like, we want more leads. So again, like these templates and stuff, you can get in contact with me at the end and you can get them if you want. I would say, what do you want? I want you to type out in the chat, what's the problem that you're trying to solve at the moment? You don't need to go into like the whole, how might we, the framework and stuff, but just tell me what's the outcome that you'd like? Or is there an outcome that you're trying to solve at the moment? You got any? No, come on. There must be one. I have a technology idea, but yes, brilliant. More sticky clients. Yeah. What else have we got? That's good. Ed's is going to be very good, and so is Kate's, because the idea being big is something that I'm going to cover in a minute. Yeah. So the right type of clients. Okay. So you can use this framework to help you with that. Switch my career into tech from power. Okay, great. So you can use this framework. You can get access to it. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is ideation. And this is something that we've got, like, I'm going to show you the easiest technique. I'm a big fan of simplicity, not complexity. And so, and this is something that, an example that I give to firms, let's say, for example, working with the recruitment agency or an accountancy firm or whoever it may be. And their teams are kind of like, oh yeah, but we're not really creative. We can't really, it's just not within us. And I'm like, okay, well, firstly, that's complete bullshit, because it is. And then I give them this example. And so, well, you tell me in the chat, what store is this? Anyone? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yes. Apple, Henny's on the money. Right. So when Steve Jobs and Johnny Ive were like, okay, we are going to think of a retail format which is going to be completely different to anything that's come before it. And we're going to build cathedrals to our products, and we're going to flood the place with light, and we're going to have columns, and we're going to have all our products out on display. It's going to be completely new, and nobody will have done it before. And actually, subsequently, you've seen Currys and everyone else. They've kind of like followed suit. They've got the same type of format and tried to emulate it. The thing is, back in 1774, the ceramic house, who just gone out of my head, it's not Royal Dalton, it's the other one, said, we're going to create cathedrals to our products, and we're going to flood our flagship store with light. We're going to have big columns. We're going to have all our products out on display. We're going to have they even had a little bar at the back, which was a genius bar. It wasn't, it's annoying, I've forgotten their name now. It wasn't Royal Dalton, it was the other one.
The Wedgwood.
Anyway, sorry?
Wedgwood?
Yes, it was. It's Wedgwood's store, yeah. And they've got meters and greeters exactly like Apple. Now, what I want to tell you is that your ideas that come to you are actually just a confluence of your experiences in life coming together. So very rarely is something completely new. It's as a result of something you've experienced in the past. And so I'm saying, like, everyone is creative is the point of what I'm trying to get to. All right, cool. So now that you know that, I have a real problem with workshops and post-its. I don't massively like them, because they just give you, it's like looking at an idea through a letterbox. Like, you can't really see the wood for the trees. So when you're in your teams, when you're with other people, when you're generating ideas, do not do this. Because if I was to hand if Ed and I on the chat worked in the same building And I was like, Ed, I think what we should do to encourage health in our business is fresh fruit for the office. I can't give Ed that post-it and he action what I want. So when you are creating ideas with your teams, do this instead. And it's something that I got from one of our facilitators. He's a BAFTA award-winning creative. He wrote Peter Kay's Car Share. He's an amazing person. And also helped come up with Shazam, which is like it's pretty cool. Anyway, he was like, what you should do is draw a big T on a sheet of paper, title it, write in the left-hand side what the idea is. So, we buy organic fruit, have it in fruit bowls, buy the photocopier, make smoothies with the leftovers, which we keep next to the water cooler, and then have a drawing of it, because now I can give that to Ed and he can action it. And so, unfortunately, we don't have a T with us. So the next part is you're going to be thinking of ideas to the problem that the recruitment agency had earlier. And I'm going to get you to write in the chat. But as humans, what we try and do is come up with utopia first. We try and come up with a perfect idea. And it's really, really difficult to do. And so this is a brilliant technique, whether you're thinking of ideas for yourself or with your team. So it's called worst ideas. And I want you now in the chat, thinking about the recruitment agency. How can we enable high-earning professionals living in the UK to understand what their lives would be like in the US and capture leads before the competition? What's the worst way we could do that? So I'll start. A terrible way to do it would be to create a photo album and have it sent to them of all the places where we have jobs, all the crime statistics in that place. That would be like that's a rubbish idea. Like, you never want to do that. They're the type of ideas that I want in the chat. So we're going to do this in 1 minute. Just give me your worst ideas. A US fast food goodie box. And that's quite a good idea. Let's give us like some bad ideas. Kate, you're too good. Videos of Americans telling me why I should come. I mean, that could be good and bad, I suppose. Yeah. Yes, a big picture of Trump's, like, perfect, like Marcus is on it, showing them the medical bills for their kids. Right, brilliant. Any more? Getting your worst candidate from last year to say, well, okay, right. You're already on it, right? So that's really good. So now we've got some terrible ideas. What we could do, it is a good idea, Henny, is we're going to flip them into good ideas. And so I would use them as inspiration for good ideas, because actually, when you're talking about it, you're like, do you know what? Showing them the medical bills for their kids isn't such a bad idea, because what we could do is create a forecast of how good their lives could be, right? So you're using them to create good ideas from a really bad place. A, it's humorous, and B, it helps relax people. So you're getting a better. Is actually why you come up with good ideas when you're in the pub, because you're relaxed, and bad ideas when you're in the pub because you're drunk. But it does help with that. So that's what we're going to do, right? Create a forecast of how good their lives could be. What other ones have we got? A big picture of Trump's orange face. What could that turn that into a good idea for me? What could we do? Big picture of Trump's orange face. We want to do the opposite. Anyone got a good one for that? No, see, that one is just genuinely a terrible idea. Better weather. Oh, actually, that is, see, Kate's brilliant. Okay, yeah. For the weather, or like, weather is better here, something like that. Okay, good. Right, okay. So imagine this on big T's. We've titled it, our forecasting platform or whatever. Right. That's what we're looking at. Okay. So next, I'm going to talk to you. Let's say we've done that. We've got some ideas. And the next thing we want to do is we're looking at, okay, right now that we've got some ideas, we need to put them into action. And back in the day, we would create things like paper prototypes, or we would create some PowerPoints, and we'd go out and we'd get some insight from whoever we were, approaching, whoever our audience was, I should say. And now you can just do stuff so quickly and create quite high fidelity prototypes. So I'm really ahead of time here, but we'll have a long time for Q&A. I mentioned paper prototypes and PowerPoint. So the three platforms I'm going to talk to you about are Lovable, Replit, and Google AI Studio. So earlier someone said in the chat, I really want to be able to switch careers. If you're working in a business and actually you've got an idea for a side hustle, these platforms are amazing for just testing the water. I'm going to give you some real examples, but the key word there is testing, and that's what they enable you to do very quickly, is to get some feedback, whether it's your own enterprise or whether it's the business, to get some feedback into the business and understand whether this idea has legs. And so that's what we use them for. All right. So I use this because it exemplifies perfectly now what you can do with AI beyond the experiment that Randolph spoke about. He basically was on a seminar a couple of years ago, and Mark Randolph, by the way, he's the founder of Netflix. And he's super interesting. If you ever get to listen to him, you should. He thinks about things very I would say logically, and he's not like a disruptor or whatever, but Netflix was, but he's very his approach is very logical and methodical. Anyway, so he said, now I'm really rich. Excuse me. I get approached all the time by entrepreneurs going, I'll tell you what, I've got this great idea for whatever it may be. And he said, and I got approached by this young woman who was super affable, really smart, came from good university, blah, blah, blah. And she said, Mark, I've got this brilliant idea for renting out women's clothes. And he was like, okay, all right, tell me about it. Oh yeah, so I'm going to rent out women's clothes, and basically get paid for it. It's going to be a SaaS product, so subscription as a service. He was like, oh, right, okay. And she goes, yeah, but I don't have a developer, and I don't have a marketing team, and I don't have a data science team. And he said, okay, well, how much do you need to get started? And she was like, not a huge amount. I need about 300 grand. He was like, okay, cool. Do you know what? If I were you, I would probably not spend $300,000 and spend $3. And she was like, what do you mean? And he said, well, I reckon if you just got a piece of paper and wrote women's clothes for hire and stuck it to your door and then waited 2 weeks, if you didn't get a knock at the door, well, I can save myself 300 grand. But if you did get a knock at the door, you get to understand about pricing, and you get to understand about how people feel when they rent your clothes, how you feel about them renting your clothes, washing the clothes when they get returned, when clothes get damaged. And so you can come to someone like me and say, I have found out that. And he said, nobody comes to me and says, I found out that. Everyone comes to me with ideas, but ideas aren't worth anything. And the second thing he said was, what people tend to do with ideas is they start off with a single tower, and then what they do is add another tower. Oh, and we should definitely include a moat. Let's have a moat, definitely. Oh, and a flag. We need to put a flag on there. And he goes, you end up with this castle, and really you lose the essence of the idea. And so you should always test the essence of the idea and what you're trying to find out. The mistake that I see often is that people try and create the whole thing without understanding what data they are after. And so when we work with businesses, we often will say, okay, in order to move this forward, what data do you need to see? And back in those examples that I gave at the beginning of this, it was like £15,000 was the one for Adventure Tape. We want 15k and we'll put it into production, and we did 50k. Or the Eden's paper, the wrapping paper one, they just wanted to see if people thought that the idea was relevant and would resonate. So we put it out on press, and we said, if we get some press around it, then we'll move on to the next stage. And we did. So you should test first. So if we look at the recruitment agency, you can see here I've said, okay, so what's the test? What is it? Well, we're going to build a landing page and advertise it to drive signups. So let's say, for example, I took one of the ideas from earlier, which was, where was it? Here. Oh yeah, create a forecast of how good their lives could be, which was taken from show them how terrible it is. So I'm going to build a landing page of that idea. And what's our goal? What do we want? Well, it'd be really cool to get 30 signups in a week. Okay, cool. 30 signups in a week. Remember, we're not building the thing. We're just building a version of it. Okay. So what needs to happen? And this is where nobody takes ownership. But here you can say, okay, well, building the landing page of the prototype, that's Sam's job, and he's going to do it by Tuesday. And then Jane's going to do some Instagram and LinkedIn ads to drive signups, and that's going to happen by Thursday. And when are we launching the test? Oh, well, Wednesday the 25th. Like, super easy framework. Just use it with your teams to get those experiments done. Okay, cool. So, but you're going to say, yeah, but Nick, what platform are we going to use? Because we don't really know how to use any of these platforms. Well, you should go and give them a try, because it is easy. You need to know about how to structure stuff. But the 3 ones I'm going to take you through are Lovable, Replit, and Google AI Studio, and I'm going to give you examples of each. So Lovable is really good for testing, will anyone care about this idea? Really great for creating landing pages. So you could have an idea for like the recruitment agency, create the landing page for it. You don't need to build the thing. It just needs to look real. Like, that's it. Perception's everything. Look real, drive people to it, get them to sign up for it. Are you interested in this? Will anyone care? Replit's another AI platform, and you use them like you do with ChatGPT. They're all like token based. And what I mean by that is that you you sign up, and then you've got a base level that you pay like 20 quid a month for, but then any additional stuff you pay ad hoc on. So Replit's really good for building functional stuff, as in, I'd quite like to build a payment gateway for a golf coach and a dashboard for them. And I'll show that. The reason I give that idea, that example, is because that's what I did. Will anyone use it? And Google AI Studio is amazing for, do we need AI in it? Like, do we need to leverage AI to make the idea happen? Like a lighting designer who I'm going to talk to you about in a minute, who used it. So this Lovable is really good for landing pages. You can build landing pages in 5 minutes. And this was built for an environmental agency. And they said, one of our problems is that when we're working with contractors, they need to be compliant, environmentally compliant. But sometimes they're not. And what happens is you get stuff going into the waterways, and, it can be really damaging for the environment. But if they work with an organization like us, then that's good. A good thing for them, good thing for the environment. And so we created this with them called Silty Soup. Silty Soup is where people can sign up and they can send contaminated water to construction companies, to the CEOs of construction companies. The whole point isn't to make the company feel bad. Well, that is the point. There is that element to it, but also it's to raise awareness about what they do as an organization. So these landing pages are great for, be the first to sign up to try this, join the community before it launches, register interest, or whatever it may be. So what it helps you test is, do people care enough to click? Does the message land? Will people hand over an email address? And anyone can do this. Like, I can't stress enough the opportunity that you have as business owners or entrepreneurs within business to use these platforms. And I'll give you an amazing example in a minute of that. So here's Silty Soup. Now you can see it here. Send contaminated water to construction sites, report a contamination, or send Silty Soup. Choose your contamination. They make money from it. It's a good idea. You can send classic muddy stuff or toxic green special or industrial strength. And you can imagine the PR and press around a construction company boss getting 3,000 or 300 bottles of like stuff. Identify the polluter, choose your message, anonymous delivery, raise awareness. Every bottle tells a story. And here you can target the polluter. Right, so now taking that, so 2 or 3 of the organization came up with this idea. What it allows you to do, imagine taking it back into your organization and saying, we've built a functional thing. Look, here it is. You can play with it and test it. Like, it's far, far more powerful when you're trying to convey ideas internally to have something functional, rather than we've got a Post-it note or we've drawn out an idea. You've gone and created something that you can test. Okay. That's Silty Soup. So I said, great for understanding whether an idea has traction. You can launch it. Replit is best for building. So that, like I'm saying, Lovable is really good. Like, design wise, it's great for creating stuff that looks really pretty. Replit is very, very good at building function. So, and I can give you 2 examples of this. My son's golf coach has ADHD, and he is really, really bad at being organized. I mean, we're all pretty terrible at being organized at the best of times, but you know, Tom, he's a lovely guy, but he's just really bad at organization. So for example, I have to remember to pay him. I can't prepay, I can't pre-book. We do everything over WhatsApp, which is like not the easiest. And so I said to Tom, Tom, excuse me, my throat's really dry. Why don't you just have a booking platform? Oh, well, the problem with the booking platforms is they charge like 10%. So like, you know, a fiver out of my hourly wage isn't like, out of every lesson, I should say, isn't great. So he goes, so I don't use it. Loads of golf coaches I know don't use it. Okay. So I was like, I reckon I can build you one of those, and it'll probably take me the weekend. And he was like, oh yeah, okay, if you can. So it's a simple golf booking prototype. And by the way, this isn't like stuff. This isn't like new stuff. They already exist, the systems. I wanted to see if it could build it. So you can see we've got instructor profiles. So I did a little like schematic of stuff, the idea, and lesson selection. So I'd get a confirmation message and all that kind of stuff when stuff's booked in. And it was something that Tom could actually try out. So what Replit helps you test is, will your audience attempt to do something? It's slightly higher polish. So you might want to actually create an element of the idea, not the whole idea. You might want to understand whether people will book online. And so you do need to build that functionality in it. Or you might want to test whether instructions can see and manage requests easily. So this is, let me cancel that one. This is Book Me for Golf. And you can see here, built for golf coaches, easy booking, secure payments with Stripe. They can sign up, simple fee. You can see like how much of a cut it takes. It takes 3% instead of 10. And if their lesson's like 90 quid, it takes £2.70. Excuse me. So here you can see the back end of it as well. You've got the overview here, Tom's overview, his lesson schedules. He can share it. So if he's down the pub, he's like, oh, I'm a golf coach. Like, here's all the lessons and packages I offer. His availability. He can do lesson packages and give discounts, all that kind of stuff. It's integrated with Stripe, so he can just get payouts. And so what I'm saying is, anyone is able to build this. Like, anyone can do it. Don't be afraid if you're a coding novice, and I'll give you another example in a minute. But you know, it's super powerful. this is Tom here. I should say, yeah, he's the one sat down. That's my son there. Anyway, when he saw it, he was like, "Oh my God, that's utterly amazing. Like, it's so good." So I got the data back from him. He was like, "If you can put it out there, I know 10 coaches who will go for it." So it's hugely powerful. Okay, this is another example built with Replit. And it's for, you can scan that, go ahead and scan it, and then click on the last the last calendar, I think it's the 25th. This is an organization called Let's Talk Well. And they're an amazing organization. They're a charity. And they said, "Oh, what we're going to do, Nick, is a door drop. And we're going to raise awareness of what we do, which is helping kids with their mental health from the ages of 9 to 25. They've got professional psychologists. They're an incredible organization." And I'll give you an example. So I walked into their offices. They've got quotes up from children that they've helped. And one of them says, "Oh, if you hadn't been there for me, I wouldn't have seen my 17th birthday." Like, I mean, it's so powerful. And they said, "So we're going to do a door drop." Okay, cool. To raise awareness. And I said, "So what's the value exchange? Like, what are you actually going to be? Is there an experience you're going to give donors or anyone?" No, we're just going to do a door drop." And I was like, the problem with that is it's about you. It's about you getting money. It's not about your audience. So whenever you're creating ideas, you want to make it about them, not about you. And so I was like, okay, we'll do this thing. We'll create a kindness calendar, and every day it's like there's a message of kindness. So for those of you who scanned it and seen it, it's kind of like putting out kindness into society, right? There will be messages like, "Oh, call someone you haven't spoken to in a while," or whatever it may be, compliment someone on something they wouldn't normally get complimented for. And that, bearing in mind they're a provincial charity, they're getting 700 interactions now every like 2 or 3 days on that. So it's massively powerful, and they can have conversation about it. And that was built with Replit, and it was built in it took 2 days to, I would say, 16 hours to build, which sounds like a long time. But when you think about what that used to be and what that used to look like, was we've got an idea. Okay, that's a good idea. Let's get a brief together, get the brief, get the scope, get the specification, design it, get first sign off. Oh, we really like the design of this. Goes into HTML to be coded, tested for security, deployed. And so I remember doing stuff like this when I used to work in a digital agency. That project is a minimum. It's a 10 grand project, and it's going to take us 3 to 4 weeks, if we're lucky, to deploy this. That whole thing was done, like I said, in a weekend, and deployed and ready to go. And everything that I just told you about that we went through. Okay. Google AI Studio. This shouldn't be built in 4 hours, by the way. That shouldn't be. Dan took a week. Dan did actually take a weekend. So Lovable's really good for making things look good. Replit's really good if you need to build functional stuff. AI Studio is really, really good if you need AI integrated into whatever you're building. Dan's a lighting designer. He's a mate from back home, from here in Gloucester. He lives in London, and he said to me, "Do you know, mate, I've just been getting in the neck from my boss." And I was like, "Why is that?" And he said, "Oh, because our clients keep calling up and going, where are our concepts?" So he's a lighting designer. He designs the schematics for like big restaurant chains or big retail stores. These schematics then go off to a separate organization who do the conceptual art for it, and all the kind of like the stuff basically that the client sees to go, "Yeah, that looks amazing. We'll definitely buy it." And so he goes, "But it's not, it's not down to me. I do my job, and then I get it in the neck because the client's annoyed because they haven't got their renders back, but that's not me." And he said, "I'd love to create like a rendering tool." I was like, "All right, cool. Well, use AI Studio to do it." So anyway, he'll plan it out, and he spends a weekend doing it. And what he manages to do is create this tool which people can lighting designers, I should say, can upload schematics or sketches or whatever it is, and it renders it out for them. So here, I might have to stop sharing and reshare so you can hear the audio on it. Where's Dan? Okay, let me just switch to new share, Chrome tab. Right, cool. Really good. And then it would light it, right?
Yeah, it would. It would. I mean, it specializes in taking daytime images and converting them to illuminated nighttime scenes.
Right.
But as you'll see, we've been beta testing this through some LinkedIn groups lately. And some of the beta groups have tried it with 3D visuals and even hand sketches.
Oh,
I mean,
cool.
just as an example,
Yeah, show it.
if I just hit this button here, so we've put an image into Dusk. It has recognized it's external and it's given me some preset options that it's been trained to do. So if I hit hospitality and landscape, it will analyze the image and then using best lighting practice, come up with some options.
Oh, right, cool.
So for instance, if I do a side by side, you can see here, it's now thrown it's actually recognized that's a lantern. It's given me some uplighting all around here. And it's even put some lamps on the front of the building.
That's cool.
I can hit retry again and come up with some more options of a model or a photograph from site. So we do a very similar thing here. It will go through and attempt to analyze that. And what's quite neat is we also turn that into something that's more pseudo-realistic.
Oh,
And
cool.
we see the option here. It's remarkably taken the whole thing. So that was the before.
Yeah.
It's worked out what's sky and what's building. And even at night and adds in things like light and shadow and texture.
So it's made it realistic.
I mean, we can hit this one or this one, but if we hit this one, it should be able to recognize the form of a building and also my instructions, and we'll see what happens. Remember, AI can be, well, there you go. AI can be iterative. In fact, if we do a quick, there we go. It's literally built the whole thing. It might not get it right the first time because we said up and down, but the fact that it can build that.
Anyway, the point of the matter is, Dan built that in a weekend, right? So you can build it in a weekend too. Like you can build whatever you want. But the key thing is it's really good if you understand the vernacular of your well, I would say the vernacular of your industry, then you can build things which are relevant to that industry. So let me go back to the slides. Okay. Now let me just say that when Dan built this, so he builds it on the weekend, deploys it, and he rings me on Monday. No, maybe it was Tuesday. On Tuesday, and goes, "Mate, I'm going to have to turn it off. Too many lighting designers. Too many are signing up to use it. I'm burning too many credits." And I was like, "Do not turn it off. Just lock it. Give him limited credit." So he does it. Right. So that's interesting. So now you've got proof, right, that this idea works. Okay. Next, this is like now going into the following Monday. The Saudi investment fund got in contact with Dan and were like, "All our architects really like this. We'd like to talk to you about potentially licensing it." Right. So that's a week in. 2 weeks later, the chairman of ACOM sees it. They're like they used to sponsor Man United, like big organization, deal with construction. His head of lighting got in contact and were like, "Oh yeah, we'd really like to talk to you about possibly like bringing it in to what we're doing." So this is what I'm telling you is it's so good for getting proof. So good. So there you go. Anyway, back to our recruitment agency of how can we enable high-earning professionals in the UK to understand what their lives would be like in the US and capture leads before the competition, because that's what they wanted, right? They're competing against everyone else that do this. The problem is that when people start looking, they're then competing for the attention of the individual or to attract them. So we have come up with this idea, right? It's called the decision engine. Oh, why don't we give people a dashboard to see the pros and cons of moving for a job in a foreign country, specifically moving from London to New York? We'd probably be able to capture them before the competition do. And let's say, for example, we're going to use Lovable for it. Right. So this is the thing that you need to be able to do. You need to give Lovable the job. So what are you trying to do? Well, we want to build like an element of what looks like a dashboard so we can get signups. Okay. the essence. Who is it for? What's the core problem? What's the transformation that you want? Well, they're currently, who's it for? High earners, professionals. The core problem is they're Googling. The transformation is we want a better way of them to find, or better way, I should say, of them to see what their potential life could be like without going through Google. And what do you want it to look like? So what's the design personality that you want to give it? So here you go. I've gone into a bit more detail. So what should this landing page or app do? So examples can include capture early interest, validate demand, get signups like Dan managed to do. So you need to feed Lovable one clear job. Each of the platforms I've spoken about a little bit nuanced in terms of how you approach them. But let's say I want to create a landing page to promote my decision engine. Okay, well, what's the essence? Like 3 bullet points. Lovable works really good, well with tight context. In fact, all of them do. But one of the interesting things that they will give you is other things that you haven't thought of, which is really interesting. So it's 4 people in the middle of their careers thinking about moving from London to New York for a job. They're currently struggling to weigh out the pros and cons of moving. The transformation is a decision engine that provides information on anticipated salaries, lifestyle, and rental costs, right? Cool. So that was our idea. And then we created this, the decision engine. Let's go and visit the decision engine. Maybe I've already got it here. Yeah. Okay, cool. You can see that. So you can see, turn life's big decisions into clear, confident choices. Explore your potential futures with our interactive decision engine. So this isn't advertising. We've got jobs in New York. What this is doing is going, see what your life would be like if you had a job in New York. Brilliant, because the recruitment agency owns that. They own that piece of real estate, so they can drive loads of people to it, and they're the ones capturing the leads. And so what does it look like? So you get them to sign up to it, and they'll get this. Oh, look, you can see from New York, from London to New York, these are your like housing costs, transport, food, entertainment, work-life balance. So it gives them something. It doesn't really matter what it gives them. What it gets the recruitment agency is, okay, we know that Samantha is interested in moving to a job. We can do some research about her and outbound her now because we've got her details ahead of everyone else. Okay, cool. So that's that. And then there's this was built with Lovable as well. Lovable's come on quite like in leaps and bounds. Before, when it first came out, it was really good at making stuff beautiful. And I would always advise people to go and use Replit for back end and functional stuff. But Lovable's actually come on quite a long way, and it is quite good now, starting to move towards you can build functional things with it. Sushma took part in an accelerator that we delivered. Sushma's friend at university was American, and she got skin cancer. She didn't know that she had skin cancer, but one of her moles had become inflamed, and Sushma was saying, you should go and see a doctor, Anyway, she didn't because of I think it was like Sushma said it was taking so long to get an appointment that she was just like, I'm just going to fly home. She flew back to America, saw a doctor the next day. The doctor was like, well, it's not great news. And her friend died. And so Sushma was like, I'm going to build an application. Bearing in mind, Dan, Sushma, they cannot write one line of code, not one line. They don't understand it. It's like looking at fog. Like, they don't understand what, and that's why I'm telling you, like, it's so powerful. And it's so powerful for the companies that we work with. So anyway, so Sushma goes, she develops this. This is uses dummy telemetry, but in the accelerator, she built it in 2 or 3 hours. She called me over. She was like, "Oh, Nick, I've deployed it onto my phone. I can scan my mole. Look, it then uploads it to the database. It gives me telemetry and tells me whether I need to go, like how urgently it is that I need to go and see the GP." And so at the end of the week, we had like this pitch, right? And she went and pitched, and there was a chap there for the NHS, and he said, "This is exactly, we need this now. Like, we've got a solution which is similar, but it's not doing exactly what Sushma's is doing in terms of being out in the public domain." And that's what I'm talking about in terms of getting data early. And that's what this gives you. You can go and create anything as long as you understand how to use the platforms. It's really simple. Like I said, if you want to have a chat with me about it, it's fine. You can do pretty much anything with it and deploy your ideas and test your ideas. Yeah. So if you want to talk or whatever, if you've got ideas or your business has got, challenges, then you're more than welcome to get in contact with me.